Hi, this is your host. It's amazing to me that in our modern world we are still discovering places where fish don't go bad. I mean, it seems like common sense that if you put a fish out in the sun, it'll spoil eventually. But there are places around the world where they don't have freezers and their fish doesn't go bad because of the environment that they live in. In fact, some of these places actually have such an abundance of fish that they just throw them away. Now, in one case, they might be throwing away something that we would think of as trash fish, but for them, it's a completely different story. So let's start off with probably the most famous example of this, and that is the Inuit people of the Arctic. For those of us who live in warmer climates, the idea of putting a fish out in the sun to dry is a little crazy. I mean, when you think about it, it doesn't make much sense. You're just kind of putting the fish out there to rot. And the idea that you would eat it afterwards is even more mind-boggling. But for the Inuit people, this is how they preserved their food for thousands of years. The Inuit people typically live in very harsh environments where temperatures can get well below 0 degrees Fahrenheit or even 0 degrees Celsius. In fact, some of these temperatures can get as low as -90 degrees Fahrenheit or -70 degrees Celsius. It's so cold outside that the fish that they catch will actually freeze as soon as they take it out of the water. This means that the fish stays fresh and can be stored for a very long time. They can keep it as long as they want, basically until they decide to eat it. The freezing temperatures actually kill the bacteria that causes the fish to spoil. So the fish stays fresh indefinitely. The Inuit people have developed special techniques for catching and preserving fish, such as drying them in the sun or burying them in the snow. These methods also help to kill bacteria and keep the fish from spoiling. Some of these techniques include the use of kayaks and harpoons to catch fish, as well as the construction of igloos and snow houses to store them. These methods have allowed the Inuit people to survive in some of the harshest environments on Earth for thousands of years. One of the most popular dishes of the Inuit people is called ikaluswak, which is a dried fish that is often eaten as sashimi. The fish is usually chopped into small pieces and then dried in the sun or in a low oven until it is jerky-like in consistency. It is often served with a sauce made of either blood or fat from the fish that it was caught with. The dish is a rich source of protein and fat, which is essential for survival in the Arctic climate. Now, the Inuit people aren't the only ones who eat dried fish. The Japanese also have a similar dish called kazunoko, which is a type of traditional Japanese food that consists of fermented soybeans and rice that is mixed with chopped up dried fish. It's usually served during the New Year celebrations and is said to bring good luck for the coming year. And then, of course, there's the Filipino dish called sinigang na baboy, which is a sour soup that is made with pork, vegetables, and fish. The fish is usually dried and then rehydrated before being added to the soup. But what about fish that isn't dried? What happens to it if it's left out in the open? Well, it turns out that there is a place on Earth where this is possible. It's a place where the fish never spoils, and that is the Siberian town of Oymyakon. Oymyakon is a small town located in eastern Siberia, Russia, and it has a population of about 500 people. It is known for being one of the coldest inhabited places on Earth, with temperatures regularly dropping below -40 degrees Fahrenheit or -40 degrees Celsius. In fact, the lowest temperature ever recorded in Oymyakon was -90 degrees Fahrenheit or -68 degrees Celsius. That's crazy cold. Because of these freezing temperatures, the fish that is brought to Oymyakon stays frozen solid and can last for months or even years. It's not uncommon for people to find fish in the ice layers of their buildings that they had accidentally left out years ago. Now, I'm not sure if I would eat that fish, but hey, it's not going to spoil anytime soon. The fish that is sold in Oymyakon is typically caught in the nearby rivers and lakes, and it is often frozen whole and sold as sashimi. It's also not uncommon for people to find fish swimming in the river during the winter months, and they will simply pull it out, eat it as sashimi, and then throw the bones back into the river. Some of the most popular types of fish that are eaten in Oymyakon include salmon, whitefish, and grayling. These fish are all high in protein and fat, which is important for keeping people warm in the freezing temperatures. The local fishermen use traditional methods to catch their fish, such as using nets and lines. They typically fish during the summer months when the ice has melted and the fish are more active. Now, this might sound a little gross, but it's not uncommon for people to leave the fish heads and bones in the river after they've eaten it. This is because the freezing temperatures prevent the bones from decomposing. So they remain in the river until the next time someone fishes there. Now, there are other places around the world where fish can stay fresh for a long time, but they typically have to be kept at very low temperatures. For example, in Japan, some fish is kept in ice rinks to keep it fresh. And in Korea, some fish is frozen and then dried in the sun. But these methods require a lot of work and effort. And they are not as simple as just throwing the fish out in the sun like the Inuit people do. There are a few reasons why this is possible in these places. First, the fish is typically caught very fresh, and it has usually been sitting around for a long time before it is processed. Second, the fish is often processed in a way that helps to kill bacteria and preserve it longer. For example, some fish is chopped into small pieces or ground up, which makes it more difficult for bacteria to survive. Finally, the fish is often stored in a way that prevents it from coming into contact with other bacteria and contaminants. For example, some fish is vacuum sealed or frozen, which helps to keep it safe to eat. The Japanese are actually so confident in their ability to keep fish fresh that they have a saying, "shi got nai," which means it's as fresh as the day it was caught. They also have a very specific system for grading the freshness of fish. The system is based on the etamazuki, which is a traditional Japanese calendar that was used to determine the best time to eat certain types of fish. The calendar was developed in the Edo period, which lasted from 1603 to 1868. During this time, the Japanese were very particular about the quality of their food, and they wanted to make sure that they were eating the freshest fish possible. Today, the etamazuki is still used by many Japanese fishermen and fishmongers to determine the best time to catch and sell certain types of fish. For example, the calendar indicates that the best time to eat sea bream is in the spring and summer months, while the best time to eat mackerel is in the fall and winter months. The Japanese are also very particular about the way that fish is handled and stored. Many fishmongers will keep their fish in tanks of ice water to keep it as fresh as possible. And they will often age their fish for a few days before selling it to allow the flavors to develop. Now, while it's not typical to find fish in the wild that hasn't spoiled, there are a few instances where this has happened. For example, in 2012, a fisherman in Alaska caught a 10-pound salmon that was still alive after being frozen for 2 years. The salmon had likely been frozen when it was very young and then slowly thawed and refrozen over the years, which kept it from spoiling. Another example occurred in 2017, when a group of researchers in Antarctica discovered a fish that had been frozen in the ice for over 60 years. The fish was a type of Antarctic icefish, and it was found at a depth of over 2,000 feet. The fish had likely been living in a pocket of unfrozen water under the ice sheet, which allowed it to survive. As you can see, there are a few places around the world where fish doesn't spoil, but they typically require very low temperatures or very specific conditions to keep the fish fresh. There are a few examples of fish being found in the wild that hasn't spoiled. But these are rare instances and don't happen very often. For the Inuit people, the freezing temperatures of the Arctic allow them to preserve fish in a way that allows them to survive in one of the harshest climates on Earth. While the rest of us might think it is a little strange to eat fish that's been sitting out in the sun for a while, it's an important part of their culture and diet. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more fun geography videos in the future.